This is Connie. Today we're going to talk about writing chord progressions. We're going along with these tutorials are going along with a workbook of how to compose beautiful piano music. All right, we learned about chords and their functions and then how to write them into progressions. And today we're going to actually write out those progressions in music. So let's get started. Okay, here is the page that says progressions. We're going to write out the progressions that we did in the last video, which is right here. We had an assignment to fill in these just with Roman numerals. And we are going to go ahead and do that here. I'll just do the first four, and then we'll write those out in the music. And we learned in the video before that, the chord families and their functions of like what belongs where. Like a 1 belongs at the beginning and end of each phrase, with some exceptions, obviously. Okay, so a 1 typically goes to either another 1 chord or a subdominant. We'll go to another tonic chord, not another 1 chord, another tonic. And then we're going to go to a 5 because a 5 resolves best to a 1. All right, we have to start on a 1. Then we'll go to, how about 6, which can be considered both a tonic chord and a subdominant, and then another subdominant, a 4, and then we end on a 5 this time. Here, 1. Let's go to a subdominant, 5, and then 5, 1, 4, 5, 1. Not sure I said that right. This right here is the king of the standards of chord progressions. 1, 4, 5, 1. So much that it's cliche, but it teaches us the tonic, subdominant, dominant, tonic. All right, here's tonic, subdominant. Let's go, this time let's use 7 for the dominant chord and back to 1. It's not very common to use 7, but we're going to try it. All right, now we're going to write those out. 1, 3, 5, 1. Come to the next page right here. 1, 3, 5, 1. Okay, there are a couple rules that we're going to follow when we write it out in the music. First, if you're going from a 1 to a 3 chord and there are any notes in common, keep those on the exact same space. Like, don't leap them up to another octave. We want to keep the common tones the same. The second one, all the other notes, we want to move the least amount of space as possible. So if you can just go up or down one note instead of having it be somewhere else, we're keeping them very close. Okay, so let's do the 1 chord. If you want to know what notes belong in the 1 chord, we covered that in the video 1, and that is chords, the chord charts. Okay, it's C, E, and G because we're in the key of C. Now 3 is going to be the notes E, G, B. So look at the 2 that are the same is E and G. So we're just going to keep those exactly the same. And B is the top of the chord, but it's called an inversion when we flip it around. So we're going to flip it around. Instead of the B being on the top, we're going to flip it down here to the bottom because look, the C can just go down 1 note to a B, and that's the closest it can be. Now the notes of a 5 chord are G, B, D. All right, here's the B, we can keep the same, and the G we can keep the same. And then the E just moves down 1 note to a D. See, that stays very close. Now we're back to tonic, C, so this is going to come up to C, up, and this is going to stay the same. C, E, G. There we go. All right, the next chord progression, we'll do this, well, we'll come up to here too. 1, 6, 4, 5. 1, 6, 4, 5. Now, just a reminder, these capital Roman numerals will be major chords and the lowercase are minor chords. C is going to be major. Now we go right to a 6, which is minor. The notes of a 6 chord are, again, we're in the key of C, so it's A, C, E. Well, look, we have an E right here and a C right here, so we're just going to keep those the same. Now, instead of you going a G up to an, we could go, yeah, let's just take the G up to an A. Usually you would write the A on the bottom, but this is going to be the closest version. Okay, now we move to a 4 chord, which is F-A-C. There's our A, there's our C, the same. And the E just goes up one note to an F. And now we are moving to a 5, which is a G-B-D. Well, if you notice, none of these are in common. So we're going to have to move the A down to a G. The F can move down just a little more to a D, and then this just moves one note to a B. And that's the closest that we can come with that. All right, the next progression on this last page, 1, 4, 5, 1. In the key of C, 1, 4, oops, I wrote the 5 first, 5, 1. All major chords. These are the main primary triads of the key. 1. Now, C, E, G, the common note here is a C because the next one is F, A, C. So we'll keep the C on the bottom and go F, A. Those both moved up one, up one, up one. Now 5. Okay, well, this is going to move down to B. This will move down to G. And this will move down a bigger leap to a D. And then back to a 1. C, E, G. Well, there's a G that we can keep in common. And these two each move up one. Okay, we will do one more together. 1, 4, 7, 1. This is going to sound weird. You should play it on the piano. 1, 4, 7, 1. Whenever you use a 7, it just has a little more dissonant sound and it needs a strong resolution back to 1. It can add some interest, so it can be kind of cool. But it's going to sound a little bit different or weird. All right, 1, C, E, G, because we're in the key of C. The 4, oh look, this is the same as before, C up to F and A. Now the notes of the 7 chord are B, D, F. All right, we have an F right here, so we'll keep that the same. B, D, F. All right, let's move this up to a D and the A up to a B. Now we resolve to a 1 chord, C, E, G. None of those are in common, so we're just going to, this would come down to a G. That would come down to an E, and that would come down to a C. There we go, C, E, G. So following those 2 rules, keep the common chords, common tones is what they're called, keep common tones the same, and everything else move as close as you possibly can. That's going to keep the sound together for the harmony instead of hopping all over. We want the interest to be in the melody. And we'll be talking about that more in tutorials to come. And like a perfect cadence, this is the end.